Thank you for joining for part two, my discussion on how I make money buying into breaks. Not everybody does. Don't recommend everybody should, but I'm just sharing you some experiences, some tips, some lessons, what I do and why I do it. Okay, so I told you earlier about fillers. He was 150 bucks. Two guys buy into it. So they put 30 bucks in. That means it's 120 bucks for me to sweep the team. I have an 80% chance of cleaning that filler. Now, again, that's gambling. I'm not gonna lie, it's complete gambling. It's a risk. I sometimes will do that. I have been burned. I have. I've missed that, dude. I've missed it one time and it stung. And that's part of the cost you have to take into your budget if you do that. And it's a loss. It's a loss against your investment. Okay. At the same time, I've won well on that where I clean that, I get a discount on the team, and then I do even better. I'll give you an example. I got a team a few weeks ago. I got the Pistons for like 20 bucks in a filler. Okay, 20 bucks for the Pistons. I'm basically free rolling. Every card that came out, I was doing great. Okay. Not recommending it, but you calculate your own risk. You decide your own time when you're going to take that stance and why. You don't do it on weak teams. You don't do it on the freaking, I don't know, the Raptors when they got no rookies. Okay. You do it when there's a calculated risk on a good team that you feel good about the move. Okay. Now, again, I talked about the different breakers. I've been with all the different breakers. When I first came to the business, got into breaking 2015, 16, I started with the major breakers. I started actually with Dave and Adams and Steel City. And they had what I found out were very expensive breaks. They're probably the most expensive. When I calculated how much the spots were and how much the box was, I'm like, shit, I'm paying a lot of money for this. Then I found Jaspy's and I found Leighton. Leighton, by the way, was the best in price at the time. They were at either at or under allocated price. This again, we're talking 16, 17. And they'd always fill. Mojo Breaks was pretty good too. I like them. I like Jaspy because I really like the guy who ran, the guy on camera. I can't remember the guy's name. I'll be honest. I liked him more than he apparently liked me because when I saw him in person, he kind of blew me off. And when he blew me off in person, I haven't really been back since then. So just customer service thing. If you say you know somebody and then they come up and say hi to you in person, you kind of blow them off. I know you don't know everybody, but dude, I dropped a lot of money at Jaspy's to be blown off the way I was blown off. Anyway, broke with those guys for years. I've been 15, 16, 17. I was balls deep in the big breakers. 17, I kind of went underground. And most of the reason was budget wise. I started realizing I could find better deals on Facebook. Like the Facebook world opened up to me, and it's a different world. I should do a video on that. Facebook itself is a whole different world. It's an underground, Facebook underground. You can buy, sell, trade cards. You can run your own breaks. It is what it is. When I got into that world, I found the Facebook breaks were awesome. Now, I'll tell you, back in this day, there was a big thing about loyalty, right? They wanted you to be in their break. Spend your money. Hey, man, I saw you're breaking with Joe over there. I'm like, yeah, man, I break with everybody. I never poached people's stuff. I never told people about these breaks. I never shared information, but I was in as many breaks as I could be. And I'd post, hey, if there's a break with this product or this thing, let me know. I'll give you an example. Back in 2017, I was a guy who's like, hey, if there's a Chiefs break, let me know. I'll come in it. And I was chasing Kareem Hunt. When everybody else was chasing Patrick Mahomes, I was chasing Kareem Hunt. Boy, what we learned from breaking. Fast forward. I have still been loyal to the Facebook breakers. I like the Facebook breaking community. There's several guys I've been breaking with now for, gosh, 7, 8 years. I've watched many of them build their own businesses in it. I've seen many of them fail in it. I've seen the ups and downs from it. I've heard the ups and downs from it. I'll tell you this. I've even participated in breaks. I've run my own friendly breaks where nonprofit, where it's either free or it's at cost to people in Facebook breaks. I've been over other people who are breakers and helped them run breaks. I've helped them. The thing that blew my mind was the sorting. How much sorting goes in, and you have to be accurate in sorting and the labeling, and that's just not for me. That's what made me decide I'm not doing breaking. I looked at doing breaking. I thought breaking would be fun because you want to open product, you don't have to pay for it. And at the time, I lived close to Blowout, so I used to be able to get product really cheap, and I'd open these personal ones for friends. And like I said, I looked at becoming a breaker. Decided not to do it. Part of it was the chargebacks, the abuse breakers take. The hate they give people when people miss their stuff or they complain, I was drunk, man, I didn't mean to spend that money. And I mean, I personally don't think what breakers do sometimes is worth what, I'll say this. I appreciate breaking. I saw The Purge when Brandon Cooks in 99 happened, and basically the breaking community shut down, and not shut down, but they shut down the shitty breakers. It really was, you only went to legit breakers. If a guy was off camera, he was going to get called out and he was going to be flamed in every Facebook group and every YouTube, not every YouTube, but Facebook group, and I guess Twitter at the time. And he was out of business. 2020 came along and it was like the rise of the breaker. Anybody could break. And I remember being in a break with the guy named the Hobby Box in 2020, June of 2020. He goes out, buys a box of Mosaic. My son gets in the break, and this guy's all off camera open packs. And I was disgusted. I mean, I still am disgusted over this, but that was the way it was. This is a known YouTube influencer, the Hobby Box, right? And he's breaking cards in a break. Hey guys, jump in my break, which he was overcharging for the box as well. And he's doing it all off camera. And I think that, set a precedent that what we saw is this, lackadaisical breaking world. The hobby, what's it, the backyard breaks guys, I don't know them. They seem like good businessmen. I'm impressed with how they're able to break into a world where breaking, like I said, those big breakers had solidified with allocation where they had the NT. They had the Immaculate and the Prism. You weren't going to get that. You couldn't maintain or feed your masses unless you had access to that. But in 2020, that all changed. Little Pullman, backyard breaks, Blaze breaks. These guys came out of nowhere, in my opinion, and they now are large breakers. A separate video I'll talk about later on. I think there's an opportunity for a self-regulating chamber of commerce or some organization that come together and organize. And you're not going to get everybody in the breaking community, but I just want to give you a little background of where we are with breaking. Now, I told you the other day, or when depending when you watch this video, I just recently jumped in some breaks because I did not get in the Panini Monopoly Prism drop. I was pissed. I was on tilt. I decided to go on eBay and I bought in some breaks. I bought in 3 different breaks. Now, when I bought in those breaks on eBay, I did a couple of things. I checked their user feedback. I checked their breaking account, like where are they breaking on? One was on Facebook, the other 2 on YouTube. I looked at their YouTube account. Do they have over 1,000 subs? Do they have some history? Do they have some libraries? There are certain things I look for, but I'll also be honest, it came down to price and availability. I didn't vet those breakers. I vetted what was available. Did those breaks. I also did those as I want to use this as a for content. I'm going to share with you some of my lessons learned from breaks today and give reviews on these breakers. So far, that has been an awesome opportunity. I mean, yesterday I crushed it in a break. Now, I'll tell you right now, at the recording of this, I'm waiting for one of the guys to confirm with me the shipping of a very, very special card that I pulled in one of those breaks and how I'm going to get it. I offered to pay extra money and insurance on that. And I'll even go ahead and say this too. Ideally, and he hasn't responded to me, I would like to tip the person. I'm not going to say, hey, man, give me a call. I want to tip you. But when I have received big cards like this in the past, being that I've been on both sides of this, I will often tip the person out of the blue. Like, hey, man, extra money. Like I got a big card. I sent $100. Say, hey, add, $20 whatever for the shipping, insurance, whatever, overnight, send me a tracking number, keep the rest for yourself, buy a 6-pack or whatever. I joke around, go buy a 6-pack or a pack of cigarettes or whatever. But I tip. I normally do that. Not all the time. Not going to lie. There's been sometimes I haven't, but I normally tip. Especially on those big hits. Okay. Big hits to me are normally $1,000 card or more will get a tip. Now, what's $1,000 card? I don't know yet because I haven't got the card in hand. I'll give you an example. I got a card in hand the other day where I ended up selling for a few $100. I thought it was going to be like a $2,000 card. By the time I got it, the damage on the card from the manufacturer, not the breaker, I wasn't going to get that much money. So I quick sold it, took the cash down. But just want to kind of give you that little, background there. I'm running out of So let's talk about trust and recourse. So again, a few things you have to take into consideration in your calculating your risk. You have to risk the fact you could skunk in a break. You have to risk the fact that a breaker cannot send you the cards that you expect. You have to take the fact that you might see a car looks beautiful, but when it gets you, it might not be in the best of shape, or something could have happened to it from the time the breaker has it, the manufacturer had it, transport. All those are risks you take in consideration in this business. Okay. So again, I'll just go back to say this. You don't come to me and go, hey, Ziggy, I got $100. Am I going to do breaks? No. That's what I'll say. This is not like I'm recommending or teaching a class, or I don't even give advice to people. I'm just trying to explain to people, this is my system. This is how I do it. I know it works for me. I know other people have systems as well, and I know it works for them. I know they're in breaks. And I'll tell you, here's one of the reasons I love this is that I know, I go back to that I said in the first video, hunter versus gatherer. I'm never going to have the means to go gather cards at the prices they are going for in the market. And what I mean by that, I don't care how much money I have. I don't care how rich I am. I'm never in my mind I'm going to go spend $500 on this card because it is, I don't know, whoever it is. Rare exceptions to that, like maybe if it was a raw card that I saw an opportunity to grade and I know I can grade it and it's maybe, okay? But for the most part, you're never going to see me buying a graded card like a PSA 10 in its final phase at its height, buying it with my thought that it could go up based on what? Performance or holding it or some magic shit. That's not how I play this game. To me, I'd rather take that $500, put it into a budget and allocate it over a product, over a break, and I feel very confident that I will return $500 plus in that investment. Does that make sense? Like, I can't make it even clear. If I have $500. $500 on a card that's finished card. That's a PSA 10, right? Not a raw card, a PSA 10, whatever card it is, $500 or $500 getting breaks. I'm taking it in breaks all day long. All day long. And I could even do that $500 in small, like I could target it boxes versus cases. It all goes back again to the product. The product you're going after, the players you're going after. So let me talk about players and teams. I prefer PYT breaks. Pick your team. Two things PYT breaks do for me. I can calculate up how much the breaker is charging for the break when I see his PYT numbers. I also do it with his random spot numbers. If he has $100 per spot, 30 spots, I know how much $3,000 he's charging for this, whatever it is, case, break, box, whatever it is, right? I want to calculate in PYT. It's harder to see that number because the numbers are all over the place. People don't calculate it. Sometimes they hide it from you. But that lets me see how much margin he's got into the product as well. Because I know what the market price is. I often know what the allocated price is, and I can just guess it whether or not he has it or not. So Bowman right now is closer to the market price than his allocated price. But I want to know those prices. Okay. Once I know those prices, I'll compare them. I'll look at the market. Let's say the Angels are going for $100 in a case of XYZ, and some guy's selling them over here for $75. I'm paying attention to this guy. Why is he selling for $75? Is that a case? What's his reputation? What's his background? I'm probably going to maybe go after that. Okay. And I maybe do 3 or 4 cases with him, maybe 2 cases over here, but I'm going to, again, I look for that. Where is the arbitrage of opportunity in case? If he's fair, if he's honest. And again, if I do that, I have a great chance, not just getting some good cards, I have a chance of getting great cards. It goes back to checklist though, right? I don't like, again, I go to products that have base card capability, that have parallel capability, have auto capability. You want all 3 of those things. If you're just chasing like Dynasty or just chasing where, it's a single hit like freaking Panini 101. That's not a good breaking product. It's not even a feast or famine. You have to like sniper feast, like sniper in. You could hit a card that's worth crap. And they're like, hey, great hit. And you're like, this card's worth jack. Right. So I can't stress how important it is to understand that you're researching that the product, the value, the price, all comes into this, man, at the end. All comes into it at the end. And then I'll say this too. What am I expecting to do with those things? What's the resale value? If certain things are first to market and I want to sell them immediately, I might look at PSA fast grading. If it's other things where I know, hey, I'm going to start getting I'm grabbing rookies right now in basketball for next year's basketball season, then I don't mind about grading them, and I can take more time to do that, right? But that should be part of your process, understanding how much time you have, what you're going to do. Let's see, there's a couple of things I want to get on here. Talk about patience, don't chase randoms, be professional, building rapport, leverage bulk shipping. Again, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Can't stress research. Another thing I'll tell you too, that I'll just give you another tip that I have done with friends before in the past is I've pooled together with guys and gone after breaks. I haven't done this in a while since COVID. Might do it again with some guys. Right with Zion year, a couple of us got together and we bought into breaks, and we bought Zion optic breaks, and we were grading all the optic Zions we got. Bases, hollows, numbers, graded them PSA, and then sold them. And we did pretty well. We made profit off that. So I could see stuff like that again, where you can get together with guys, get the cash flow. Again, cash flow is key. In fact, another topic I'll talk about, we're going to talk about co-op. And you could build a little business where you and a bunch of guys put together money, and that money goes into breaks. And again, if you don't have that process defined where you're selling, grading, and moving that product around, it's a great little business to build, man. You just have to have the knowledge and the discipline and the patience and the appreciation for it. But I tell you guys, buying into breaks, in my opinion, is the best way to get in cards. A lot of guys do it because they like teams, or they're trying to complete a set. So they divide a team they want. They have the most holes in their set. So a lot of people do it for risk. But what I will say, if you've gotten this far in this video, let's not call the people in breaks idiots. Let's not call the people in breaks gamblers or fools. Most of these guys, in my opinion, as someone said, they're the lifeblood of the hobby. These are guys willing to step up, take the risk, and open those boxes that people have put exorbitant prices on, that people are too scared to open, that people know, because we all know the overall value in that box is negative, right? Which I'll bring you to a little thing. And everything I've told you guys, there's some guy out there who's buying the shitty teams, the guy paying for the fillers, the guy buying in the breaks all the time, he doesn't hit anything, who's wasting money. Okay. Part of me doesn't feel good about that, right? I can only tell you so much. I can't tell you not to buy in the break, right? Then I'm hurting the breaker. It's part of the system, right? Don't hate the player, hate the game. But do realize that every break that I'm in where I'm doing well, I know some guy out there who didn't do well, right? And that happens a lot. You're going to be the guy who doesn't do well too. If there's 3 hot teams and you have one of them, 2 teams might do well, and you beat the team that doesn't do well. Hopefully, you got something coming in on the backside, whether it's through some of those grading cards, ComC or base cards or whatever, to give you a little rebate on that pain. But I like to have all 3 of those horses sometimes and let somebody else have the other 27 losers. See what I'm saying? If there's 30 teams and 3 of them are the good ones, I'll take the 3 good ones at the risk over several cases. 27 other people can take the other teams. Hope this was helpful. Like, comment, subscribe, open to questions, open to do a conversation about this. I love sports card breaks. I realize that. And I appreciate the people. It's funny. Somebody said the other day, I can't believe somebody comes up. I think it was Brett said it on Step on the Box. I can't believe someone's willing to pay that much for a PSA 10. I can't either. But the same guy that's willing to pay that much for a PSA 10 says, I can't believe someone's willing to buy into a break. Isn't that funny? Have a great day. Like, comment, subscribe.